John Kurtz just broke it wide open on his show. I told you guys he could stay in the Big 12. I didn't know West Virginia was in the mix for Jake Retzlaff, of all things.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking about West Virginia football, of course. And look, I told you guys let's go back and share screen really quick while we're doing this. Let me get over there really quick. Okay, so I had this to say on July 11th. Update, had a source tell me today that he plans to stay in the Big 12. We shall see if this comes true. Nothing is certain when it comes to the portal, but I'm told that Notre Dame talks have fizzled, which they have. So I was also told that day that West Virginia was in the mix, but I was afraid to report it because I knew people would kill me. I knew they would kill me if I put that out there. So I decided to wait to see if it come true. I kept the screenshots from that day just in case, because that's what I do. No names are going to be attached here, but let's show you, just so you guys can know. And I don't know what's going to happen here, obviously, but West Virginia or Oklahoma State, this was that day that I put that out on the 11th. So first of all, I want to say, I don't know what's going to happen here. John Kurtz is very reliable. Actually, one of the most reliable names in the Big 12 when it comes to reporting on the Big 12. He's gathered himself an extremely large audience. He's a beat reporter for K-State. He's not just a YouTuber. He's been writing for K-State Athletics for years. He does radio. He does voiceover, or not voiceover, but he does the Kansas State play-by-play for some of their sports. This is a big deal. Like, it's not just like an average Joe, somebody that's maybe trying to lie or get clout or anything. Like, this is a legit, he wouldn't lie about it. I know John very well. We talk a lot. So I consider this to be credible. Now, I don't know who told him, and I'll ask him about it, see if he'll tell me. I haven't had a chance to yet. It's funny. The person I heard this from was not John. So I'm kind of surprised, but I think maybe he heard it from John, but I don't even know if that's true. So we'll find out. We will find out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here to, let's see. Let's go to, let me find it here. So yeah, here we go. This is John Kurtz, not even 30 minutes ago, talking about this.
Who's another Big 12 team that is dealing with a quarterback controversy of sorts, just a quarterback battle, retooling the roster, rebuilding the roster. Well, that's West Virginia. Okay, so in addition to this list, and I someone did tell me Oklahoma State, but I also was hearing West Virginia from people at Big 12 Media Days as a school that could be interested in a potential Jake Retzlaff landing spot. Now, maybe that information I got is just old. I would certainly trust Ben over me. He is much more well-connected, obviously, to BYU's program. But I figured I would mention that West Virginia was another one that was told to me. Now, West Virginia's got like a three-way-ish, I guess, quarterback battle. Nico Martial, who was at one point like the young phenom that was going to be next at West Virginia. I don't think the star is quite as bright anymore these days, but maybe he can turn that around. Then you've got Texas A&M transfer Jalen Henderson. He's a guy that's bounced around a lot. Played at Fresno, I believe, to start his career. He has played and started some games, but sparingly throughout his career. And then you got Max Brown, who started at Florida, Charlotte transfer.
So obviously, John is somebody that I trust a lot, and I know he wouldn't make this up. Now, where he got the source from, like I've already said, is it's a whole other ball of wax, obviously, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say that this is going to happen, that there were number one in the race. You saw the list of teams there on his page. But I've been hearing myself from other people as well that were Big 12 Media Days. It's funny how I got crucified whenever I put that out too by certain people. That, there's a lie, blah, blah, blah. It's like, but anyway, I'd been hearing the same thing about West Virginia, about Oklahoma State, about Retzlaff staying in the Big 12. And there is a bit of a fire in his belly to play in Provo, is the thing I was told is the most intriguing thing to him. He's not happy about the situation. Obviously, he put himself in a position here. Now, I don't want to speak for any victims. I'm not going to speak on any victims. As far as I know, that's a matter is case closed. There are going to be some people that never let that go, and I get that. I'm not addressing that. I'm simply addressing, I think most people think it was consensual, and otherwise, why did they drop it? If not, then he'll pay for that someday. There's no way for me to know that. Now, obviously, I think it's in my world, consensual sex between two people is not a reason to get kicked off a football program, but I don't have the same values that people at BYU do. I'm actually going up there tomorrow to visit them. So hopefully they can maybe, help me see a new point of view on that, because I'll be open to it. But, your average person who is not practicing that faith, and for what I understand, he's Jewish, right? So, maybe this is something he doesn't agree with personally and is angry about. So, especially considering the team they have, the season they could have had with him. And as you guys know, like if you just type in, like I can show you guys now, hold on, I will, because I don't know if he's going to come to West Virginia or not, but I also as you guys know, I keep my receipts just in case. You never know, man, when you're going to need one. Let's see if I can find this. Okay. I got to search in my own bar, right? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Retzlaff. Okay. So, going back to his very first start against us. Retzlaff has a ton of arm talent. I've always felt this way because he does. This is from November 4th, 2023. When I was doing my research on him after Slovis went down. Came away very impressed with him that day, and have since taken the stance that I think he's a high-level quarterback. Now, he does it a little differently. He's more of a throwing quarterback, but he does have some mobility to his game. I think he would be similar to maybe what Rich Rod had last year. That kid could throw it a little bit, not as well as Retzlaff. I think Retzlaff's got an NFL arm, and he's got some mobility. So what would that look like in Rich Rod's offense? I don't know. Some people think that we should be okay with Nico Marchiol, Jalen Henderson, Max Brown, and Scotty Fox. I understand that 100%. But you can never have too many quarterbacks either. And if you can get Retzlaff to walk on, this is the other thing that I think we'll talk about after the break, is the process that would need for this to happen. Obviously, we're projecting here a little bit. And for those of you just joining in, John Kurtz just dropped a bit of a bombshell that Retzlaff has been mentioned along with BYU, which I have been talking about for a couple of days now anyway. In the Big 12. Like I said, I didn't want to go all the way WVU, even though I shared this screenshot where I was told that on the 11th. So I just didn't want to go with it. Not that I didn't trust the guy. This was one of those times where I wasn't brave enough to put it out there yet, because I thought, man, what a long shot, but now that John Kurtz has kind of put it out there, I can put it out there too, and kind of give my thoughts and feelings on what if here. So, I'm not saying Rich Rod's not happy with the quarterback room, but he said multiple different times, I got 4, I want to have 5 that I can play with. If you can get him, you take him. We'll go to break and be right back, and we'll talk about what that process would look like. What does Retzlaff have to do? Because he can't transfer. How's this going to work? And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. And look, when we're talking about Monarch Money, you got to ask yourself, have you ever wished your managing your money felt a bit easier? Because with Monarch Money, it can, absolutely. And whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch Money puts you in the driver's seat. Now, it's kind of like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances, because Monarch Money is much more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one easy, convenient place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONCollege at Monarch Money for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your very first year. In segment 2, you know I got a crack-a-do as we continue to talk about some breaking news here. As John Kurtz has kind of dropped a bit of a bombshell on our heads tonight, that he was talking about Oklahoma State and he was talking about West Virginia at Big 12 Media Days with people concerning Jake Retzlaff. Now, what does that look like? Well, there's a process for it. So, the transfer situation, walk-on status, what have you. Obviously, he just announced his withdrawal from BYU on July 11th, which bypasses the NCAA transfer portal and hopefully enrolling directly at another school. This avoids the need for a transfer waiver. It also likely means he would join a new program as a walk-on, as he would not be eligible for an athletic scholarship without portal entry. So here is the 3 ways that I've found out, or a few ways that I found out, that he can kind of bypass this. So obviously he can obtain an NCAA waiver for unique circumstances, citing the honor code suspension. He can enroll as a walk-on, which sidesteps portal restrictions, but does require him to forego a scholarship initially. He can enter the special NCAA waiver window for designated student athletes, which is from July 7th to August 5th, because the BYU determined this was not an option. I've read somewhere, so I don't think that one's going to work. Obviously, he faced a reported 7-game suspension at BYU for violating the honor code, which prohibits premarital sex. After admitting to consensual sex in a response to a civil lawsuit alleging sexual assault, which was dismissed, by the way. This violation has prompted a decision from Retzlaff to leave rather than serve as suspension, and I understand that. Consensual sex is, in most places, pretty normal. Unfortunately, where he was at, not so much the case. It was a rule, though, so you got to follow the rules. I get that. Unfortunately, I think, he was accused of sexual assault. It looks here like he didn't do it and had to admit consensual sex to get out of sexual assault. I mean, what a bad hand to be dealt if true. So, as a walk-on, he could join West Virginia without scholarship constraints, which would mean that West Virginia would need to file documentation to support immediate eligibility if he intends to play in 2025. His status as a fifth-year senior with 1 year of eligibility makes him pretty attractive short-term option for teams needing quarterback depth or a starting quarterback. The impact on West Virginia this would have would be obviously to the quarterback depth and depth chart, since our quarterback situation includes Nico Marchiol, obviously the other guys on the roster, including Jalen Henderson, Max Brown, Scotty Fox, etc. There's the experience with BYU and against West Virginia here for him, where West Virginia won 37-7. That's the only game we played against Retzlaff. But his familiar with BYU's defensive system can offer some really strategic insights for West Virginia's game plan in Provo on October 3rd. So is it worth 60 or 70 grand or whatever you got to pay to get him on a walk-on and then NIL and all the, even just to get the game plan from BYU's defense? Just food for thought. Obviously, the motivating factor of facing his former team could be something that promotes himself into a state of unconsciousness where he just go off against them, right? Especially given the way this is a controversial exit. I think it could elevate his performance possibly, man, with a psychological edge for West Virginia coming into the game. Talk about attention. That game might be on game day because of that. But it also it risks some emotional volatility if not managed properly by Rich Rod and company. This has impacted BYU heavily. Without Retzlaff, they most people have shot them down 4 or 5 spots in the conference standings, and they now have an open competition with McKay Hillstead, Bachmeyer, and the other guy. I think I've got it written down here. Trayson Bourget. So McKay Hillstead, Trayson Bourget, and Bear Bachmeyer are in a 3-way competition as a result of this Audi Bodowdy. None of whom have started for BYU, by the way. Bill Connolly thinks they're going to drop from maybe 8 to 7.5 wins now because of this. So no proven starter for BYU, obviously, here. You know, Retzlaff has played behind a struggling offensive line in the past, and could playing for a team like West Virginia that runs the ball effectively help a guy like him who would just psychologically, you're running the ball a lot and you're playing off the run a lot. It can really help you, man, especially if you're used to getting beat up like he did for BYU. Now, last year it got better, but in 2023 he got destroyed there. So, but overall, man, the narrative, the attention that would get, Retzlaff playing for West Virginia against BYU would draw significant media attention due to his honor code related exit and the dismissed lawsuit. It could create a distraction for both teams, which might galvanize West Virginia's fans, might galvanize BYU's fans, especially given the game's early season timing and bowl eligibility implications. Now, what I'm hoping is this news breaks while I'm improved Provo next week interviewing Kalani Sitake. I hope it breaks 5 minutes before I do it. That's what I'm hoping. That would be crazy, man. Talk about an all-time break. So, fall camp's approaching. Retzlaff would have to integrate himself and learn quickly from West Virginia's playbook to compete for a backup or starting role. His experience as a starter does give him an edge, but the chemistry of the kids that are already on roster, I think it could take some time, and he would probably be walking into an open competition. I doubt they would just hand him the reins. Although I think he would probably win, honestly, if in that situation. If we brought him in, you'd have to give him the edge. Certainly a better passer than the other guys. I mean, he's a very good passer. And we do have some good receivers. I think we would have an interesting little offense passing-wise. Like the team we have this year, I think Dana could do a lot with from like a passing standpoint. I don't know how great our offense. I think our team's built around running though, so it's like, I don't know. It would be interesting. I'd be here for it. Joining as a walk-on obviously might limit his immediate financial support, but man, he could put himself in a great spot for the NFL if he did that. And West Virginia's investment in him would probably hinge on that eligibility and his fit. So this is a high-profile exit, obviously, from BYU. We'll see what happens with it. I think at the end of the day, to summarize it, the potential move to West Virginia as a walk-on is feasible. I think it's going to require navigating eligibility hurdles, some other emotional hurdles involved there. His addition could definitely bolster our quarterback depth and possibly be a starter. He would provide a unique advantage against BYU in Provo. And I think it comes with the integration challenges and public scrutiny that would come with a move like that. So that October 3rd matchup would hit, though. I got to be honest. In Provo with Retzlaff, talk about an all-timer. That would carry some intrigue and put West Virginia right on the national map. And most probably knock us up a couple spots in most people's projections for us. Pretty wild stuff. Let's go to break. We'll come right back. We'll put a bow on this. What a wild time to be alive if this happens. We'll be right back. All right, guys. Thank you to John Kurtz. Make sure you guys go check out John. And if you haven't heard, I guess we can play the video again so that you guys can hear exactly what was said. Let's see. Do I have it still? Or do I exit out of it? Could have. I maybe exit out of it. Very possible. Let me see if he's still alive. I know exactly where it was at. All right. Yeah, he's still alive. He's got 2,000 people watching him right now. All right. So that's probably why my live is a little bit lesser than usual. I think it was right around. Let's see. Okay, there it is. All right, let's share screen again. We'll go back over to Kurtz's page so you guys can hear for yourself exactly what he said, because I know some of you are joining in late. So we'll jump over there really quick. All right.
Both of those do make the list. I will file like Georgia, Alabama, Nebraska. I mean, obviously, like Nebraska has Dylan Raiola. Alabama and Georgia, I think, seem pretty set at quarterback, right? Even though it is a little bit different from where they were at last year. Maybe that's just as a backup. Maybe they just would feel better about having some sort of veteran. I don't know, man. Last year, watching that quarterback carousel and how that went, I would certainly have some trepidation if I were an Oklahoma State fan, and I'd be open to being like, hey, I mean, Jake Retzlaff.
And I think he talked about it right here.
Games last year in the Big 12, even if, again, I think the ceiling is a bit limited there. So that makes sense. Oklahoma State, right? Well, who's another Big 12 team that is dealing with a quarterback controversy of sorts, just a quarterback battle, retooling the roster, rebuilding the roster? Well, that's West Virginia. Okay, so in addition to this list, and I someone did tell me Oklahoma State, but I also was hearing West Virginia from people at Big 12 Media Days as a school that could be interested in a potential Jake Retzlaff landing spot. Now, maybe that information I got is just old. I would certainly trust Ben over me. He is much more well-connected.
Here's what I also want to say about his little caveat here. So it just says here are some of the schools I've been told that have been interested in the talents of Jake Retzlaff. It doesn't say West Virginia is not on here, right? These are some of the schools. So I think John maybe, he's kind of editing himself there, but I don't think there's any need to. I think that if he was told that, I think if West Virginia can pull it off, I 1,000% think they would do it. Now, am I saying that I think he would come in here and win the starting job? No. Am I saying that what am I trying to point out here? Am I saying that he would come in here and even change that dynamic at all, like the top two guys? I'm not even really saying that. I think, though, he's probably, if he comes, here's the two things I think. Number one, if he comes here personally, I think he's going to have a shot to win the job personally. Because the reason is you don't bring him in unless he's going to need some concessions, probably, that he's going to at least have a shot to battle for the starting job and maybe even guaranteed a spot. And maybe Rich Rod loves his quarterback room, but he said multiple times they're not experienced. Retzlaff is experienced. And so he would be a 1-year bridge gap. Now, there are a lot of people that say, I'm just ready to see Nico Marchiol get his chance. And I totally understand those people. I do. I want him to see, I want to see him get it too. But if you can get a Retzlaff, you just can't turn it down. He's got an NFL arm. He's mobile enough to run this offense, certainly not to the point of a Marchiol or Henderson or anything like that. But I think we have really good receivers on this team that not many people talk about. I think the combination of Bray and Vaughn especially are going to be really good. And that's not even considering Man Singleton or Justin Smith-Brown, who ran a 4.4 the other day, or Logan Ramper, who ran a 4.4 the other day. or the other three guys that ran 4.5. I think you've got a speedy wide receiver room. A few of those guys can run really great routes. And, maybe Rich Rod's seen what he needs to see and thinks, hey, maybe I bring a passing guy in for this first year to get by a little more because we got better receivers than we do offensive linemen. I don't know. I'm just projecting and guessing a little bit. Don't take anything I'm saying here as like that's what I believe or it's gold. I'm just trying to dance around onto a couple different subjects. For those of you that are joining in late, will show you this, considering I posted on the 11th that I also heard Retzlaff was going to be staying in the Big 12. I was told the same thing, and maybe even by some of the same people. I don't know. That was at media days. And then obviously this here is from that same day. It was at 7:10 in the morning. On the 11th, I was told the same thing about West Virginia or Oklahoma State. So could this list be updated with just Oklahoma State now? Sure. But like this guy says, here are some of the schools. Here are some of the schools I've been told how are interested are in the talented Jake Retzlaff. So anyway, like the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here. Definitely do that, please. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this. Does anybody drumroll if the Notre Dame stuff has fizzled out from what I understand? That's what I've been told. But can he rebound? Goodness gracious. Oh, God. I actually am picking up Jake on my trip, Jay. Jake, you talking about Jake from Locked On BYU? Yeah, we are. We're meeting up in Provo. While I'm there, we're going to. I've actually got the thing here. So to put a bow on this really quick, though, guys, John Kurtz reporting West Virginia named as a possibility for Retzlaff. Certainly think there's a long way to go before that's official. But, man, what a sight it would be to see for that to happen. What a sight. All right. As you guys know, I leave at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock. So I do have to go to bed shortly. But I leave at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to Provo, Utah. I'm really excited about it. My first day there, we check in a hotel on the 16th at 3 p.m. or so, somewhere thereabout. Then I leave for Sundance at 5:30. Then I have this Wizard of Oz dinner at 6 o'clock, which is going to be super fun at the Sundance Summer Theater and Dinner. And I think that's where Jake from Locked On Cougars or League Locked On BYU is going to be joining me. So I'm super excited about that. Then we got Ernie Sports Deli. We got Top Golf. We got the Black Sheep Cafe. Then I finally get on a Thursday that meeting I've been talking about, LaVell Overt Stadium, tour BYU Stadium, broadcasting building, student athlete building. Lee and Skylar are going to attend. Michaela comes later when I interview Coach, from what I understand. So I don't know. Here's what I want to say too. These things always can change. There may, maybe I don't get to interview Coach Sataki, or I've got to have that in my head, because if I don't get to do it, I don't want to be let down too badly. At the end of the day, just touring the stadium, the broadcasting building, and the student athlete building is going to be like a dream come true for me. A dream come true. So I'll take you guys along for all that. I bought a $600 camera to be able to do it, and I'm going to make sure that I can. Every cent is going to be put into that. So, it's called a GoPro. It's a nice camera. One of the newest models too. So, and then outside of that, we've just got a bunch of other stuff. We've got some more. The Sundance Mountain Resort I'm really looking forward to. We've got the Springfield Museum of Art. Like, we've got a bunch of different museums and things to look at. I'm really looking forward to it. But what a time to be alive. Hey, look, what if Retzlaff ends up going to West Virginia while I'm in Provo next week? What would the odds be? How are you guys going to feel if I get on here live with you guys in Provo talking about Retzlaff is in West Virginia and I'm in Utah? Who would ever thought that? So that would be a crazy situation. I got to be honest. I hope it happens. Obviously, for content, I'd be lying if I didn't pray that it would happen. Let me know what you guys think down below. John Kurtz, man, good report on that one from Media Days. I would have loved to have been there and heard it myself. Uh, Raven says she'll be a BYU fan for just this week. Yeah, I know. Dylan says, how does BYU invite you in before West Virginia? That's a great question, man. That's a great question. But I will say, I have been always very nice to like Neil Brown and things. And I think some people, the powers that be, maybe didn't like that. I also made the mistake of calling out one of the SIDs on Voice of Morgantown show of all places. And unfortunately for me, he remembers that. So I'm trying to learn from my mistakes, but boy, he ain't let off me. I'll tell you that. He definitely, I definitely didn't make a friend there. But you know what? You learn, you live and you learn. I'm not perfect, and also I'm not your typical journalist. So I don't do things like there's certain etiquette I don't even know about. There's certain rules that I don't play by. I'm sure there's something with this article or this title, the thumbnail, like that he wouldn't like. But obviously, I lean on the dramatic side. I don't hide from that. But I'm excited about this. Wouldn't this be crazy if West Virginia and Retzlaff could get revenge in Provo in 2025? And what revenge it could be. It'd be the biggest story in college football that week. Unless something crazy, number 1 versus number 2 was playing, or I mean, who knows? But that could be a top 25 matchup if BYU ends up being as good as most people think they can, which is still like fringe top 25. And then if we get a quarterback that can actually play, I really think we got a shot to be pretty good this year. So, because I do think we're going to be better on defense than people realize, but we'll see. Guys, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. This is it. This is the last stream before I go on I guess a mini vacation. I'm super excited. I will update you guys as we go. Hopefully the business centers at these hotels allows me to record. That's something I'm super worried about. If not, I guess I take a couple of days off. But I'm definitely going to update you guys as we roll through the states. Hopefully I don't run into tornadoes. I don't like tornadoes. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys wherever I'll be tomorrow. I don't know. I got my first day drive. By the way, I'm driving to Utah. I'm not just flying. I'm driving. I chose to do that for a lot of reasons. I think I told you guys I was struggling from major anxiety attacks there a couple weeks back. And I thought, the last thing I want to do is have one of those and be 30,000 feet in the air. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm not, what? The best way to prevent that is just not do it. Plus, I like the scenery. I love spending the time with my mom, who's going to go with me. They're paying for me and well, plus one person to do all this for free and paying me. So I couldn't turn it down. But it's a far drive. Yeah, it's 29 hours or 26 hours. It's 10 hours the first day, then it's 8 hours every day after. But it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be peaceful. I love it. And I haven't been on a vacation like this literally since I got clean. This is the first thing I've actually treated myself to since I got clean and started making decent money again. So, I always think about everybody else, and like my mom gets on to me literally every day. I give somebody money. And it's just who I am as a person. I try not to be a taker. Although some of you guys have been great to me and helped me out, but I'm just so grateful for this life that I get to live, and I just never would have guessed that I would be in this scenario, driving to freaking BYU. Just shocking to me. My mom was laughing about it. She was like, "Who goes to Utah?" She's like, you ask somebody, "Where are you going to vacation?" "I'm going to Florida." And they're like, "We're going to ask us where we're heading." "We're going to Utah." Like, what the hell's in Utah? Well, that's what we're here to find out, I think. Yes, Drake was the only person. Me and Drake were the ones. Yeah, I'll definitely do updates, Dylan, online and through X and things. Like, I'll be posting. But yeah, Drake, he's there right now. He got there. He gets there tomorrow, and he'll be leaving when I get there. So we timed that up pretty good. But yeah, he's going to be getting there tomorrow. So I'll hear from him exactly how good Provo is. But I'm going to do as professional video as I possibly can. Like, I have high aspirations for it. I'm thinking I want it to be like, can we just talk for a couple minutes and just not be about West Virginia? Can I tell you guys what I want the video to be like? Let me see if I can find it. Because, like, this is what I want it to be like. Hold on a second now. Hopefully I can find it. Let's see. All right, we'll see. Yeah, okay. There it is. So in my mind's eye, this video I'm about to show you guys, I just want to show you, like, in my mind's eye, this is what I would love to be able to produce. And I have time to do it because they don't want this unveiled for a little while. So, but like, obviously this has a bit more of a serious tone maybe than I'll go for. But like, here's my idea in my head. Like, I'm thinking, like, yeah, there'll be some where it'll like be my voice on the camera like this. But I also want to do something like this right here, and forgive the subject matter, but I just watched this earlier today and I thought, man, this is extremely well produced. Like, this guy really produced the hell out of this video. Listen to the little music in the background, listen to the voiceover. Like, this is what I want to do when I talk about this move up to Utah.
It's December 1st, 2007. We're at Milan Pusker Stadium in Morgantown,
Takes me out of immersion because he says Pusker.
West Virginia. The number 2 ranked West Virginia Mountaineers are just...
So anyway, that's the idea, right? Is, I would love to have some cool visuals. I would love to have my voice over the track to some music, but I don't know how to do it. I've never made that kind of edit before in my life. So I'm going to shoot high for this. Because I want it to do well. I've already been told they're probably going to be able to get BYU to repost this whenever I put it out, because they're paying a lot of money for me to do this, and they want to get the response. So I'm going to get BYU to repost it because then it'll actually gain traction. And I think the idea is I'm going to be like this, or I'm going to have a crazy picture. I haven't figured out where yet of me being lost in Provo. I'll tell you what I would really like to do. One of my first ideas is me surrounded by a bunch of Mormon women. Like, I've gained a bunch of wives. That's my biggest idea. I don't know if they'll let me do it, but if, like, because I think Mormons can marry as many wives as they want. Like, if it was up to me, I would put me with a bunch of wives and be like, "I'm converted, boys. It's over with." And you guys will click on that, right? I feel like. So, like, I'm going to dive deep into it. So I'm going to go full method acting here. Like, it's going to be good times, a great country. WTCR. Why do I always got to say that every time? Oh, gosh. Just take a picture with 4 women, Paul, says John. Why just 4? Oh, shoot. I might break the honor code, though. If I go to Provo, do I assume on the honor code? Am I like allowed? Do I just have to like not think that way? Do I have to be nice? Or or the opposite? Will somebody accuse me of something and I have to break the honor code by saying I didn't do it? it was consensual. I don't know. Obviously, I'm excited about going and can't wait to update you guys. So thanks for letting me have that little few minutes there of a little bit of talk, but I do have to go to bed. I will behave myself. Obviously, I'm going to be very respectful of what they have up there, and I would never do anything to actually mock their religion or anything. Like I was just kidding, you know. So I guess I probably need to be more careful about that kind of stuff because I don't know what would offend somebody, you know, and I'm not trying to do that. So have fun, guys. I'm going to do the same, and I'll see you guys on the next one tomorrow. All right. Wish me luck.